Hi, I'm Debbie and welcome to Book and Bujo, where I talk about all things books, bullet journals, and stationery. Today I am going to attempt the Great British Bake Off book tag, which was originally created by Jack from Reading with Jack. There are quite a few different booktubers out there who have done this tag, and I decided since I just caught up in series with the Great British Bake Off, I thought I should do this tag as well. So there are 10 questions and I will have them listed down below in the description box in case you would like to do this tag yourself. Number 1, the cake has sunk in the middle. Pick a book that didn't rise to your expectations. And I have a couple of them with this one. It was kind of hard to decide. I didn't have a whole lot, but there were a couple, but I decided to go with Comfort Me with Apples by Catherine M. Valenti. I think this one was hyped up for a little while on BookTube, and so I think my expectations were a little too high, and I wasn't necessarily the right audience for it. I thought it was okay, but not amazing. Number 2, Biscuits. Once you've eaten one, you're hungry for more, and each time you eat another, they get more and more delicious. Pick a book series or trilogy that got progressively better. So I have 2. The first one is 5 books plus a novella, and that is Of Cinder and Bone by Kyoko M. I loved every single book in this series. I thought it was so good and so much fun to read, and it was interesting. There was a lot of action, there's romance, there's some sci-fi aspects, and yeah, it was just so much fun. I loved it. And the second one was the Of Blood and Fire series, and that is by Ryan Cahill. The first novel is Of Blood and Fire, and then you have a couple, there's like 3 novellas and 3 books so far, and there's the next one's coming out soon, I believe in March. I can't wait. And this is by Ryan Cahill. This one's the Broken Binding edition, and I love this series. It is so good. I have read all of the books except for Of War and Ruin twice already. So I had been caught up, and then once Of War and Ruin came out, I decided to reread the entire series again because that's how much I loved it. Prompt number 3, bread. Kneading dough requires hard work and determination. It does. Pick a book that you put off reading for ages and needed a lot of determination to pick up. And that would be A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. Now, I've wanted to read this book. Ever since I got it, since it came out, I've always wanted to read it because I loved Priory of the Orange Tree here, and I couldn't wait to get into this one, but I think it took me, I got this for Christmas in 2023, and I read it in December of 2024, so it took me a year to actually get to it. It is pretty long. Now, I do like chunky books, but I don't know why I just never picked this up until my TBR Opoly game decided to give it to me. Question number 4, desserts. Foreign desserts such as creme brulee and Spanish wind torte are on the menu. Pick a book set in a foreign country. And for this one, I went with Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, and I did just read this one in December, and I enjoyed it, thought it was really interesting. It's the story of a life of a young lad who ends up getting elevated to a higher status and then going right back down to where he started. It's very interesting. I liked it. Question number 5, alternative ingredients. Not usually used, but surprisingly good. Pick a book from a genre you wouldn't normally read, but ended up loving. And I had to think, because I do read all genres. I do like to pick a book from all the different genres that there are, but there are some I reach for more than others, and one of those genres is sci-fi. Now, I do love watching sci-fi TV series and movies, but I don't tend to read sci-fi as much. There are a few that I do like the Of Cinder and Bone series, as well as Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Love that series. But I don't tend to pick those up. And I ended up reading Illuminae by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, and that is the first book in the Illuminae files, and I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I was very surprised. I know a lot of people talk about the series and how much they love it, and I had kind of forgotten about it for a while, and then my library ended up having the audiobook as well as the physical book, so it was great to do an immersive read of that one. It was so much fun. Question number 6, pastry. Short crust pastry can crumble easily. Pick a character who you initially liked, but as you read more and more, your relationship with them crumbled. Yeah, I couldn't think of many characters that I initially loved and ended up not liking, especially in the span of just one book. There is one character in Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, which I really liked in the first book. And now that you're reading more and a little short story later and I don't like that character anymore. Yeah, no. But I'm not going to tell you who it is because I don't want to ruin anything for you if you haven't read all of the books yet. So I'm not going to use that one because it wasn't all in the same book. But then I was thinking, I did read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros recently. So Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I have not read the next one, Onyx Storm. Haven't read that one yet. Yeah, Dane. If you've read the book, you know. Yeah, you know. He starts out amazing and just crashes and burns by the end. Yeah. Question number 7. Victorian or old-fashioned bakes. Recipes from the past that still taste delicious today. Pick your favorite classic novel. And this one was tough because I do read a lot of classics. It's not necessarily my go-to genre, but I read a lot, so I have books to discuss with my sister, and just because it's fun. I like reading some of the older books and seeing how far we've come, or just the different directions we've turned throughout the generations. My favorite from this last year is The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, and this was very interesting. It is a very slow-paced book. It's not anything that's fast, but like most classics, fairly slow-paced. There's journeying and things like that, but I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It's so interesting. It's got a little bit of that gothic feel to it. There are some trigger warnings, there's some gaslighting and other things like that in this book, but it was very interesting and I enjoyed it. And I'm mainly picking books that I've read recently. There are quite a few classics that I could use for this question. Like Agnes Grey is really good. I really like Jane Eyre. Anything by the Bronte sisters pretty much, and anything by Jane Austen, Charles Dickens. Yeah, love them all. Alexander Dumas. There's some great classics out there. If you haven't tried any, give one a try. Maybe not starting with like Don Quixote or something like that. Maybe ease yourself into it a little easier with Jane Austen or one of those first. Question number 8. Patisserie. You're eating a chocolate eclair, but there's barely any filling inside. Pick a book that lacked substance and fell flat. I didn't really have too many books that were, I think I had 1, maybe 2 books that were under a 3-star in this past year. So it took me a little while, and the only one I could find that I've read somewhat recently was Vampire Academy, Crestview High School by Emily Clark, and it was like a little novella. It was pretty short, but it read more like the outline to a story. So you had something at the beginning, there was a little thing in the middle, and then it ended, and you're like, well, how'd you get from there to there, or from there to there? Well, you and this really cool thing happening here, but then it just went to the end, and you're just like, well, what happened? So I wanted a lot more from that story. That's the only one I could think of. There's one book I really hated, 1.5 stars, but it didn't really lack substance. I just didn't jive with it at all. But yeah. So question number 9. Chocolate. Chocolate is a comfort food for many people. Yes, it is. Pick a book you could read again and again and still find comforting. So there's a lot of books I can use for this one. Anne of Green Gables, definitely, but have not read that one recently, but that one is amazing. Also, Sword of Kaigen is another one. I have read this 3 times now, I believe, and I'm sure I will read it many more times after this. I love that book. If I want to go for a series, I would say the Six of Crows series by Leigh Bardugo. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Absolutely love these books. I love the characters. Kaz and Inej forever. Yes. Another book that I would totally read over and over again because it was so cute, so fun, hilarious. And that is There's No Coming Back from This by Anne Garvin. And that one was super fun. And then also for another series would be The Grimoires of a Middle-Aged Witch by Renee George. Another just super fun that just has you snarky and just has you laughing out loud and just super cute story throughout all 5 books that I've read. So good. And then lastly, question number 10, the grand finale. Everyone is out to impress with extravagant showstoppers. Pick your favorite book of the year so far that really impressed you. My favorite books of 2024. I haven't done that video yet, but that should be coming out hopefully. We'll see if I get there or not. for my favorite series, it would be The Kingfall Histories by David Estes. I read all 5 books this year in 2024, and all of them got 5 stars. They were amazing. David Estes is definitely one of my favorite authors. And then a surprising favorite was Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I absolutely love that book. I was so surprised. I wasn't sure what to think. I've heard a lot of people talk about how slow and long it is, and just it was a slog. And other people that really liked it. Well, I loved it. It read a little bit more like a classic, but it had feels of Sherlock Holmes throughout it as well. So it was so much fun. You had this like mystery going on, there's magic, and I really love that book. Very enjoyable. The writing was easy to read, I felt, and it should be on your top 10 list of books to read before you die. I have 2 more that I want to share that I really loved, and one of them was Mother of Learning, Volume 1 by Damagaj Kermiak, and this one is a little bit kind of a Groundhog's Day style plot, and he repeats the same day over and over and over again, but it's very entertaining, and there's some good learning that he does throughout each of the days that he repeats. It's very fun. And the other one is a lit RPG, and that was Shade's First Rule by AFK, where each time he does something, or each day he can level up in different things. So he can level up in his strength or his intelligence and his cunning and things like that. And it was hilarious. It had me laughing out loud throughout the whole book. I just had so much fun reading that one, and I don't know how well known that one is, but I want to get that one out there so more people will read Shade's First Rule, because it was just so much fun. I still need to get to the second book in the series, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So what is your favorite episode of The Great British Bake Off? So do you like the cake or the biscuits, or maybe the bread or desserts? I would love to find out what one your favorite is, and mine is probably bread. I have a soft spot in my heart for bread, and I would love to hear any of your answers to these questions. Leave those down in a comment below, and if you would like to do this tag as well, consider yourselves tagged. And please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other bookish content. And if you've made it this far in the video, leave some sort of cake or pastry emoji in the comments to let me know that you're here. And until next time, keep reading. Bye!